Indie games are popular. They've been popular for a while now. But why? Well, we'll have to see that in a moment. Fun fact, Undertale has some pretty bizarre names for the characters, and they're pretty punny too. Yeah, some of the names are actually puns, like Toriel as tutorial, you know? Tutorial, get it? Yeah, pretty much lots of characters have those types of names, now you know. Indie games. I really like them, and lots of other people like them too, but why have they been getting so popular recently? Well, there are probably a couple reasons for why indie games have been getting so popular recently, and is it a problem? Well, I wouldn't really say it's a problem, because it allows smaller people or smaller companies to, make big-time projects that, the big guys upstairs are making, And the more the little guys are successfully making, video games and making them extremely popular, like Undertale or Five Nights at Freddy's, it brings more and more people who are more willing to, be like, hey, I have an idea for a game myself, but I don't really have a big budget company. So what should I do? Well, I could do A, B, and C. I could, get some, assistance online, make a PayPal or Patreon or something that'll allow people to want to support my work so I could, make it, bring out some demos so people can see what the production project is, so they could be like, you know what, this game looks pretty good. This game looks pretty good. I think I will spend money on this creator so he can make the game reality. And to bring on to that point, I think there are 3 other reasons as to why indie games have been getting bigger recently. Reason number 1, it's mostly because companies aren't making that good of games nowadays. Don't get me wrong, there are a bunch of companies like Nintendo and Sega that are making good games, but it's mostly those other companies that are making, not really that great games with microtransactions and, not really good gameplay, buggy graphics, not really good designs. All these things are just not good, especially for a game that is made by a big budget company. I mean, I would expect that stuff in like 1990, but I wouldn't expect that stuff in 2025. Like, really, we have so much technology, so much other things that can help us with this stuff. There's literally softwares online you can literally search to, go to make games even better. We have Team Fortress 2 that was made in like 2009, and they literally used one software to make it. And you see people playing it still nowadays. And big budget companies can't make anything that looks as crisp as that? Yeah, I can see exactly why people are gravitating towards, indie games and all that. And that's not to say that some of the problems like that some of the problems there can't be fixed. They can easily be fixed. It's just the companies don't think smart. Like, look at Disney, for example. From all the criticisms they are getting, they do not change. There are many reasons to change, for more money, for more fans, but no, they decide to stick to their guns, and you know where that led them? Down the rabbit hole. So, yeah, indie games are made with a passion, are made with love, are made with care. They care about the product, unlike some companies that couldn't give two shits about the project. They just want the money. Whereas Matthew over here, that's making an RPG about aliens coming down on Earth to save mankind, and it has good characters that are pretty funny and pretty entertaining. Yeah, that's gonna get people to like that. Instead of, a basketball game that's, like, it was made in, like, not even in Blender, looks like it was made in Gmod. Like, what is this? What are these graphics? What are all these other things? Yeah, that's a big problem. Reason number 2, people really like gravitating towards the underdog. The people that don't have as much resources as, say, bigger companies like Nintendo or Sega or Microsoft, but still want to make a good game. And so they try for years. And remember, this process doesn't take, 2 or 3 years, or maybe it does take 2 or 3 years, but most often it takes like 10 or 8 years to get this stuff done when it's a single person, even with Patreon supporters, even with people helping out. Because they don't have a big budget company that has 200 artists, 3,000 writers, a co-director that's known by many. They don't have that. They don't have a studio or a place that, requires, that can allow them to make this stuff easier. It's, more difficult. Now, nowadays, it's been getting much easier to make indie games because we have many more softwares to help with making stuff like that. But that's still the case of they don't have as many resources. Like, Nintendo has pretty much billions of dollars in their bank account right now. They can spend all of that to pay for hundreds of artists to help with video games. You do not have billions of dollars. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you do have billions of dollars, but then why wouldn't you be investing in that money? Yeah, you should be investing in that. Anyways, people who have all of that, in comparison to people who do not nearly have anything and manage to rise up and impress a bunch of people, is much, much more satisfying than, a big company that already has everything making a game. Now, that isn't the end-all be-all because it's a game. It's the passion that counts. And reason number 3 is there's just so many good indie games in comparison to modern company games. I mean, sure, Nintendo and Sega have been doing very good, but when we have indie games like Five Nights at Freddy's, Undertale, Hollow Knight, Pizza Tower, all these other games like Anton Blast, and pretty much lots of others like Shovel Knight 2, you pretty much go, yeah, these games are pretty good. They're well received. They have really nearly minimal, pretty much graphical errors, if not any at all. And they can impress you with their own style and something that was inspired. Like, for instance, Toby Fox, who made Undertale, was a big fan of Earthbound or the Mother series. And he took that inspiration and took some of the assets from, Earthbound and all that other stuff and put it in Undertale. Not physically put the assets in there, but, he took inspiration, like how a comic book artist could look at another comic book artist and go, hey, this style looks pretty good. Let me try that for myself and put my own spin on it at the same time. That can allow you to have new fans because people who find stuff unique and different are more likely to gravitate and see it. Like Pizza Tower. Pizza Tower was inspired by, has MS Paint like graphics sometimes, and has, pretty much Wario Land pretty much platforming, and has Sonic like running, fast like movements that are involved. It makes perfect sense why lots of people gravitated and loved it, and still love it. So yeah, these are pretty much reasons as to why indie games are just well beloved, are just well received. People like them because they're different. And I think that's the big difference. They're different. They're different from any other thing you've seen before, or likely haven't really been done that often. And it impresses people and brings them together. So, yeah. What do you like about indie games? Do you know which indie game you like the best? Do you like FNAF? You like Undertale? You like Pizza Tower? You like Anton Blast? You like Hollow Knight better? Which ones do you appreciate? Well, comment that down below, and I'll maybe see it. And this is Chris from Let's Talk Franchises, and this is me signing out. Bye.